Welcome to Smoke Signals, everyone. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach and athletic director Jason Holman. Jacksonville had their home opener last week against the Whitehouse Wildcats. Coach, it obviously didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you talked about, I remember a couple of weeks ago, how important special teams is. You jump out 7-0, and man, then you have 2 consecutive kickoffs that you lose the ball, and they converted them into scores. I mean, just a huge turn after getting off to such a great start.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and I think in both the cases, I think really what we were guilty of was really just trying to make something extraordinary happen instead of just, we were fighting in a pile one time with Coda Kennedy. I know what he was trying to do, trying to get extra yards, but there is that time where you just got to cover the ball up and just go down, when you're just completely wrapped up. And unfortunately, we didn't do that, and the ball popped out and happened to us twice.
What a great start, though. I mean, you come right out and you go right down the field. I think Whitehouse is really playing on their heels that first drive, but again, the turnovers and that happened, and then Whitehouse just turned on the Jets. Talk about what you and your staff were thinking about when you're going at the half of that kind of a deficit. How do you play out of that?
Well, we talk to the kids all the time. Games aren't won in the first half, but they can be lost. And I think in our case, what happened with us is, we've had something really positive straight out of the gates happen. And we were in a football game there for a while that looked like it was going to be a good competitive football game, and then the negatives started to pile up, and we lost our head. We lost our composure at times, and our focus went from playing football to being involved in a grudge match. And you can't do that. You can't make the game personal. You can't have one-on-one battles that aren't conducive with what's going on in the football game. And we were definitely guilty of that in the first half. And as I told the kids at halftime, that scoreboard is the result of when you let that take over. When you lose your head, when you become emotional, and you completely lose your focus, that's what happens. So we challenged them at halftime, said you got 2 options. You can either lay down and that score can be doubled, or you can go to work and you can make this, we can salvage some type of good feeling in our good taste in our mouth by coming out and competing hard in the second half. So that was the message at halftime.
And it was another one of those games where you had 3 turnovers. Time of possession wasn't as bad as it was in the Sulphur Springs game, but it was still pretty lopsided right there. And so you came out and you played hard the second half, and like you talked about, you want to find out what kids are going to play when the chips are down. And I think you found some of those guys in the second half.
We did. Every game you find a little bit more about the character of our kids, and who we can count on, quite frankly, who we can't. And I've made the promise to the kids that regardless of class, seniority, whether you're a senior, junior, sophomore, regardless of size and athletic ability, if you're not playing with maximum effort, and you're not competing at a high level, we're going to make the change, and we're going to put those in that do. And unfortunately, we had some of that the other night, and we've got to go to work this week and figuring out, who can we put on the field that's consistently going to give us what we're demanding, and in hopes that the others will figure it out and come on.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Jacksonville versus Whitehouse. Opening play right here, Coach. Nice little zone read. I think that was a busted play, maybe.
Well, we had some read option in the game, and that was the timing was awful, Matt. That's why he pulled it.
So here's that huge package you put in, Jaden, going in from 1. You put that in, looked like last week, and man, that paid off.
We call that beast. Kids love it. You'll hear them hollering it. And, we just decided to go out there and get after them.
Here's Devin going 92. Wow, just foot speed.
Of course, this is what he can do. We can get the ball in his hands. We've got to find ways to get ball in his hands more often. But great run, great throw and catch.
So coming up here's Ryan McCown finding some time, and he hits Jermaine on the sideline for 23.
Good job by Ryan moving the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, making a negative turn into a positive.
Nice timing play here, a little fade, Jermaine.
A good job by Jermaine going up and timing it well and going up and making a big catch.
There's the score right there, and there's the stats, and there's the turnovers at the bottom. You can see that the time of possession is not as lopsided as week 1, a little bit better. But I know that's what you want to see, Coach. You want to see improvement. You want to see things, get better. You didn't improve necessarily on the turnover part, but 2 of those turnovers were on special teams. It wasn't your offense, so that was a little bit better there. So talk about the mood of the kids. Where are you right now emotionally after the 2 ball games?
Well, anytime you take a loss like that, there's frustration, no question. I mean, there's no point in beating around that bush. But we came out yesterday on a Labor Day holiday and had a great practice, and the kids, they want to improve. Their heart's in it, and we as coaches, we cranked it up a little bit on them, and we had some really good responses out of that. So, it's just part of the learning process. This is what preseason's all about. We got to figure ourselves out, and we got to figure out how to win football games. And we know now clearly that we can't let that happen to us again, because that's not a way to win.
Well, it doesn't get any easier this week, Coach. The Crandall Pirates come to town, and this is a team that is explosive. I mean, they're 1-1, but I think they've scored 47 in one game and 40 in the other, something like that. I mean, they've scored a lot of points. So, talk about the Pirates. This will be the 3rd time that Jacksonville's played them, and they always have great athletes.
Well, they're a very good football team. Number one, they've got good skill positions. They're very effective on the line. Speaking in terms of them offensively, got a quarterback that deals the ball well, makes good decisions, and he'll make you miss, and he'll pull it and run it on you. So they're a very well-rounded football team. They execute well. We've got to make sure that we're on point defensively, and we match, if not beat, their execution, and limit their big play capability. Defensively, they do a good job of maintaining gaps. They cover well. They're just a very well-rounded football team that does not make many mistakes.
Coach, you ran the ball pretty good against Whitehouse last week. Wasn't bad. Is that something that you want to try to obviously continue to do to have more balance? Because, of course, everybody knows about Devin McEwen and the passing game and how effective that's been for Jacksonville. So I know that you would like to have that running part of the game. Can you do that against Crandall this week?
Well, I think we can, and we're looking at couple of wrinkles. May involve some tight ends and do some things where we can put hats on hats and get people occupied at the line of scrimmage and, create some holes. I've been very pleased with our offensive line. They've done a really good job of coming together as a unit. They're working very, very hard. We're not perfect by any means, but we're starting to figure things out. And, we challenged them going in the Whitehouse game to be able to run the football. Unfortunately, the game got out of hand, and we had to do what we had to do in the second half to try to generate some points. But we would love nothing more than be in a competitive football game where we can stay balanced, run, pass, keep people off balance, and use the running game to set up the passing game. And that's what we strive to do.
Coach, you talk about keeping the kids engaged and making sure they, like you said, don't lose the game in the first half. And after a game like the Whitehouse game, and the Sulphur Springs not so much, but how do you keep the kids engaged at this point and make sure that they're still focused on what they got to do and get ready for district?
It all boils down to having the mentality. It's always about the next play. It's not about the end result. It's not about what you did 3 plays ago or what happened, the last play. It's always, the focus has always got to be on the next play that you're experiencing. You got to be in the present. You can't be in the past or the future. And when you have that kind of mindset, then your focus is on executing to the best of your ability on this given play. And that's hard to teach a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But honestly, that is the mentality that is going to help to make you be successful, because like I say, you're in the present. You're aware of what's happening right now, coming on this very next snap, and you're not distracted by something that happened 3 snaps ago. So that's what it is. It's just a head down, go to work mentality. Next play, next play, next play. Win your battles, and if you got that kind of mindset and you can add those up over the course of a football game, you'll be successful.
Keys to the game to get the win against Crandall.
Well, I mean, we've got to come out and be competitive. I mean, we've got to compete. We've got to play as 11. It can't be, one-on-one. We had a lot of personal fouls and unsportsmanlike the other day, and our kids were completely guilty. I mean, obviously that was a rivalry, and Whitehouse was guilty of some as well. But we can't let that sort of thing get into our head and affect our play level to the point where we dismiss our assignment. We've got to be playing together. We talk to them all the time about doing your part. You're one of the 11. and executing every single snap and swarming the ball defensively and playing with great effort, even when things, they're going to catch a pass here and there. They may break a run here and there. That doesn't mean we quit playing and just lay down and let them walk in the end zone. And one thing I was disappointed in Friday night is they had, during the first half, they had, I think it was 7 possessions and they scored 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's like, where is it written that every time they have a possession, they're going to score a touchdown? You've got to bow your neck and you've got to make a stop. And that's the type of thing we can't allow.
So it's Jacksonville versus Crandall, week number 3 at Tomato Bowl. Kickoff coming up at 7:30. For head coach Jason Holman, I'm Matt Montgomery. We'll see you here next time on Smoke Signals.